Over the next few videos, we're going to be exploring compositing related tasks inside of Avid Media Composer. In part A, we'll look at how we can use blend modes, as well as easily remove white or a distinct color from a background, in this case, a title layer. In part B, it's all going to be about removing green, a green screen or a blue screen, using Primat Keyer and other tools to blend our shots together. If you follow along with the exercise files, what you're going to want to do is go into your sequences bin, and from there, inside the Continuum Avid Essential Training Sequences, open up sequence 5A by double clicking it. You'll see a pair of clips in the timeline. If you look at the first two clips in the timeline, you'll see one over the other. I'll just monitor the V1 track so you can see the differences between these two shots. And what we'd like to do is blend them together. For a task like this, we want to go to our effect palette and look no further than the key and blend category. In this are a number of different filters that can help us with our compositing workflow. One really handy effect is called BCC plus Composite. So what I'm going to do is take this effect and place it onto the clip on the V2 track at the beginning of the timeline. And let's go into our effects mode, where we see a series of properties that we can manipulate. First off, to see a composite, we can identify a background layer here. So I'll identify this as the background being the first clip below. And the minute I do that, I get access to blend modes. So from here, I can choose a number of different ways of mixing my clips together. In this case, I'll choose the blend mode of screen, which takes the brighter pixels in the shot and illuminates them even further. Now, the cool part is I can blend the clips on the V2 and the V1 track, but also make some color correction changes with this effect on the clip that's on the top layer. So if I go to the color correct section, notice that if I start to play with the hue amount, it's playing with the hue of the clip on the V2 track. Also do the same for saturation if I just want to make that color that I chose with the hue more saturated. And some other controls here. In this case, I'm just going to press Command Z or Control Z to reset those. You then have controls for blurring the clip on both the X and Y axes, because these are connected together. And then doing transformation changes. So I could crop off a portion of the clip, or in this case, what I'm interested in is moving its position slightly over to one side of the frame. Now, similar to other effects that we've worked with earlier in this course, you also have different edge modes. And in this case, after repositioning the clip, the edge mode in this case is set to transparent. I'm going to set this to repeat to extend the border, or even reflect. And now, going back up to the position properties, I have a nice mirrored clip here, mixing with that shot in V1. The controls go even further with motion blur and being able to corner pin this, and we'll cover some of these features and other effects later in this course. Okay, in this next example, we have a graphic layer that has a solid white background, and just underneath that, some bokeh. And we would like to key out the white, just keeping the black text. In these situations, in the key and blend category, there are two effects that can come and help us. One, for our purposes, we're going to use the BCC Linear Luma Key. When we drag it onto the text, it does the exact opposite of what we want. It's removing the black from the image while keeping the white. If we take a look at this in effect controls, we'll see that the key type is set to key out darker. I'm just going to reverse that to key out brighter. Now, it's always good to look at the results of your composite here by changing the output to a different mode. In this case, I'll just use show matte. White represents what we want to keep, while black represents what we're going to remove. And if you need to make changes to this in more complicated situations or colors, you can play with the threshold. In this case, I'm dragging it up and introducing the white back into the scene. So it's picking up the background, which is not what we want. So I'll bring that down. Again, making sure I don't key out the black. I could make further refinements here with these sliders. Let me change the output back to composite. And one thing to mention here is choke, where this could be good to refine a matte in certain instances. In our case, by making this a small negative number, we introduce a white outline based on the fact that this had a white background, and just allowing us to have a little bit of separation there from the bokeh. In addition to that, we could also play around with post blur, which could help refine the matte in situations where we need it. And if I scroll down here to the effect, there's a whole geometric section. In fact, one control, position, happens to be the center parameter that you can use to move around the position of your text. But you also have the ability to crop it, rotate it, and in fact, I'll just set that back to 0. You can rotate this with spin and tumble in 3D space. I'll just scale this text up a bit and go back here to the choke value at the top and just set this to a much lower number, -10, so that there's just a subtle outline produced by that white background. So this, and then linear color key, which could be useful in situations where you have a colored background to remove that, or a specific color from your image, can be great for performing compositing tasks. In the next video, we're going to take a look at how we can remove green from a background with Primat Studio.